Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly, all you need to be healthy is just eat meat, and that's what you should do. But if you're hiking or road tripping or stuck at work and you want something nutritious that is just meat, fat, and possibly salt, if you want it, the Carnivore Bar is a great option. I like this product not only because it is pure meat, but also because I really want the carnivore market to thrive as well. The more we support meat only products, the more people will make meat only products, and this will bring this into the mainstream. So if this sounds like something you'd like to check out, then take a look and use my discount code HTC to get 10% off, which also applies to subscriptions, giving you 25% off total. All right. Thanks, guys.
So, Daniel, what's your experience with carnivore been?
Um, Man, it's changed my life. It's changed my view in the world. It's changed everything, honestly. Um, I could go through my story, but I've been through it a while. Um, I just briefly run over it. I was on a
I
lot of
mean,
drugs.
you're right. So, how did you get in? How did you first hear about carnivore? How did that come about?
So my health was really poor, and I was on a lot of drugs. And then I was actually searching up, and the doctors told me this is just the way I am. I'm stuck with ADHD, depression, chronic pain, all these things. So I searched up on Google heaps. I was searching up everywhere how to fix this. And the thing that consistently always came up for all those problems, including losing weight, was the zero carb Reddit space. It kept on coming up. Um, and then I saw all this anecdotal evidence saying this is the only cure I found for ADHD, or it's the only, like, just so much anecdotal evidence. It was just unreal. And then through that, I was just binging Reddit posts looking for hope, looking for anecdotal evidence. And then I found the carnivore space. And then I found the likes of people like Carnivore Camaraderie, if you know who he is, um and just other people like Chafee. And I just really just got into it and started it. It's changed my whole worldview.
And how old are you?
18.
How many other 18-year-olds doing carnivore?
I don't know a single one yet, except Ed when he was 18.
How about that? Who's that American guy that you guys interviewed?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Carnivore.
Joey Schwartz.
He's 19.
Yeah, cool. I mean, what would the world look like if more teenagers were carnivore?
Do you want to answer, Ed?
Yeah, I think I think it'd be very different. I think, a lot of people our age are on a lot of medications, like Daniel was, antidepressants, ADHD medication. A lot of people struggled with ADHD, especially in our school. There's quite a few people on these mind-altering drugs, and yeah, you could tell the effects of it. It kind of made some people turn their personalities just like would dialed down, and it's pretty sad for that to happen. um and yeah, I think if more people on the carnivore diet for our age, so many of those medications would be eradicated and not required anymore. I think just a general focus and the ability of our generation would be so much better. Just yeah, productivity in general, I think as well. Um, and yeah, I've noticed as well with increasing social media use and TikTok, um, we just kind of fried our brains a little bit, and I think carnivore is a step in in the right direction to kind of take control over our brains again. So yeah, I think that would be reduced depression, reduced ADHD, improved productivity. Uh, yeah, definitely
Reduce,
better.
reduced obesity, probably.
Oh,
Mm.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And I also feel like nowadays there's a lot of, because everyone always says young men or women as well, but more men in particular, and just actually I take that back. Both men and women, like they say that when you're young, you're full of energy. You can, work for ages, you're full of energy. But I feel like recently a lot of young men especially haven't been feeling as powerful and just a bit more weak and depressed and stuff. And women as well, just not as, energetic as a whole. And I think that this will really just help empower the youth more and, go into the workforce as well, giving us more energetic, productive youth and stronger men and women as well.
Yeah, I agree. I saw this fantastic doco where it was showing Inuit people today. So it was like, filmed in, say, 2020, and it's Inuits. And it first shows this family of like 5 young kids, and they all now go to school and live a Western life. But in the school holidays, they go back to visit their parents who are living in a traditional way. So they're living in a yurt, which is like one of those, kind of like a giant teepee in the snow. And the oldest of the kids is a daughter, and she's like 16, and she's like a classic teenager. And she comes back to the family, and in her bag, she's brought all this Western food. So she's brought like 2-minute noodles and soft drink and all the food that she eats at her boarding school. And then it's showing what her mom and her grandma and her great grandma are eating. And it's like, they go out and they slaughter a reindeer, and they just start eating the reindeer like raw in the snow. And all their meals are basically just this one reindeer that they've slaughtered, and then they sort of eat it at different stages, like, boil it down, etc. Anyway, it's showing the work capacity that her mother, grandmother, and great grandmother can do and can get through. And they're putting the hut together. They're out there moving the animals. They're on snowmobiles. They're doing all this manual labor. And the 16-year-old girl, who should be, the most energetic and healthy of them all, is just sitting down in the yurt, and she's like, I'm so tired, I can't do any of this stuff. And you sort of, as you guys are alluding to, it's like, well, isn't this supposed to be a period of our lives when we have a heap of energy and we're very productive and, we're strong and we can do stuff. But, in this example, she just couldn't. And the thought of eating the reindeer is, even though that's what she was brought up on as a child, it's now disgusting to her, and she'd much rather have her 2-minute noodles, which are totally devoid of nutrients.
Yeah.
So I agree. I agree with you guys. Like, it would be particularly for teenagers and people around your age, like, life would be completely different if they had proper nutrition.
Yep.
Yeah, and even I actually had a thought similar to what you had a few weeks ago. I was looking at my nonno, who's 88 years old. He grew up in Italy. He eats natural. He does eat vegetables, but he eats natural, and he works so hard and is just so much energy and always working. And I'm this 18-year-old kid. I'm meant to be youthful, powerful, strong. And when I was, staying at his house for a bit, I just feel pathetic. I feel like a joke. This is like before Carnivore, when I first started it. I just feel pathetic. This 88-year-old man has more energy or maybe just has a better work ethic to me. And I feel as if Carnivore has helped restore that, and I have more energy now and a bit more stronger. And yeah.
Good for you, mate. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm exactly the same. I feel like if I want to, I feel like I can just keep working into the night. I can do a day's work, and then I can come home and I can just keep working if I want to. Whereas before that, you just feel this wave of tiredness, and you feel emotional and all that sort of thing. Don't know about you guys, but that's what it was like for me. And I'm like, whoa, I just can't do this anymore. I just need to sleep. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my mind. Whereas on Carnivore, it's not like that. Ed, are you Italian as well?
No, I'm not Italian. No. I think I'm just white, honestly.
You just got a bit of olive complexion.
Yeah, I know. I wish I was Italian or something special, but no, I think I'm just white.
Plain old white Aussie like me.
Yeah.
So Dan, have you had any? So were you previously on medication? You said you were on drugs before. How's your health now?
Yeah, so I was on one for acne, because I had really bad cystic acne.
Mate, I was going to say your skin looks fantastic.
Thank you. A lot of it might also be the light, but it is a lot better than it used to be. I was on one, like, my skin was terrible. Like, I'm not even lying. You can ask Ed. I literally had volcanoes all over my face. And I tried this casual advice, cut out fat or cut out dairy, and just all this stuff, and it didn't go down. And I went on this drug called Accutane, and this is one of the most evilest drugs you can put on kids. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it just destroys your body for the sake of your own skin. And yeah, and the carnivore diet's just fixed my skin. I don't use any skin products. It's crazy. I just wish so many kids knew about this.
Yeah. Do you use like a soap or cleanser or anything? Or
Nothing. Just cold showers. That's it. Nothing. Not sure if you guys have experienced that. I don't know if you guys use any skin products, but
I've started using you guys should get this too, tallow soap. So it's soap made from beef fat. You guys would love it. It's got no flavor or nothing artificial in it. And I buy it from Tassie Tallow. You can just buy it online. And I use that on my body and on my face as well. And you don't need to use a moisturizer or oils or anything. It's good.
Is it kind of moisturizing as well because it's tallow?
Man, that's what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. I would never use like some, old bar of soap on my face normally, but with this, it does feel like it's moisturizing. Yeah.
Hmm.
do you
Check
still
that out.
use shampoo, Simon?
No. But I think I don't know. But I've never really used shampoo. My hair is so straight, it would just be like fluffy.
Okay.
What about you guys?
I mean, I was trying to wean off it, but I found that it was kind of getting a little bit oily. And I think that is just due to it just takes time to adjust your hair. And also I was just exercising quite a lot, so I was sweating quite a lot. So right now I currently am using shampoo like a couple times a week, but I hope to get off it in the future because I know that it's not the best for you, and if I don't need to use it, it's better not to use it.
Same goes.
Yeah, I reckon you can definitely wean off it. After I have a shower, I comb my hair straight away. I reckon that gets some of the grease out of your hair. Maybe try that. Are you guys using deodorant?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I tried not to, but I just reeked.
Yeah.
I know it does
Yeah.
take a while, but what's your thoughts on that, Simon?
I'm in the same boat as you guys. Like I'm trying to get off it. Weirdly, I tried. I won't say the brand, but I tried like a tallow based deodorant, and it made me smell worse than I ever have, which was really weird.
Wow.
So then I became like very self conscious of it, and so. But I think just like nothing is probably the way. And on carnivore, you've got less toxins in your body, no carbohydrates causing any damage. So really, your sweat won't smell as much. But yeah, there'll be an adjustment period. So I'm just going to go cold turkey. I'm going to skip the tallow based deodorant.
Do you reckon it's going to take some time for your body to stop stinking, or what do you reckon that's going to look like?
I don't know, man. I think if you get really clean after a shower, and then you have obviously
Yeah.
need to shower after exercise, I think you'd be fine. Yeah. So Ed, life before carnivore and then life after carnivore.
The conversion. So started 3 months ago. My dad got me onto carnivore.
Really?
I was just talking about the benefits, about especially mental benefits. So like mental clarity, energy,
Wait, so your
that kind
dad's
of
a
thing.
carnivore?
Yeah. My dad started probably like 8 or 9 months ago.
Cool.
He's not like 100% super strict kind of carnivore. He's probably more like a 95% carnivore. Because I don't know, he just sometimes cheats or whatever. So yeah, I'm more strict than him. But anyway, so yeah, 3 months ago, reason my dad was talking about his benefits, mental clarity, energy, and that's like something that was really attractive to me. Just started kind of working more in a real job, finished school and got a real job. And then yeah, I needed to have consistent energy throughout the day. Because I remember during school, especially my final year, I had to get home at like 1 or 2 p.m. and have a huge lunch and just like I'd be knocked out. I'd be on the couch and fall asleep at 2 p.m. or whatever. So I can't do that anymore since I'm working till 5 p.m. So I needed a solution to that. And that was probably around 6 months ago when I found the keto low carb diet. because I heard that that was a good way to kind of have more consistent energy throughout the day. So gave that a crack. It was pretty good. Just the problem with the ketogenic diet is I still found myself craving a lot of carbs. And because you kind of had that little limit of, 30 grams carbs or whatever, I'd kind of just blow it out every single time. Like I can't just have a little bit of carbs. I found whenever I just have a little bit, it's just, I don't know, the floodgates go, and then I just eat 150 grams of carbs. And yeah, so that was the only trouble with the keto diet. And also, I didn't have complete brain clarity, and I just wanted to try the carnivore diet anyway because my dad was talking about the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then I started the carnivore diet, and some of the main benefits I realized was constant energy throughout the day, like much more stable. So yeah, at a moderate to high level of stable energy compared to before when I was just having high energy crash, then high energy, then crash. It's just like way less sustainable. So yeah, that was a big benefit. Mental clarity and just kind of being able to focus is another one of the really good benefits. Probably just my mood in general. I think when you eat better, you feel way better. And I think I just, on average, just feel better throughout the day or whatever.
Mm.
And then, yeah, more physical benefits. Probably, I mean, I don't know. It could just be a correlation, but I've become far more athletic. I've been able to run the fastest I ever have in my entire life with
Really?
like
Have you timed yourself?
I haven't timed myself, but I know that like I used to be kind of middle of the pack, or maybe in my Oz tag team, whatever, kind of middle of the pack, maybe at the higher end, but now I'm feeling like a lot faster. Um, and yeah, I'm like beating people that I wasn't beating before. So,
Mm.
but yeah, I want to time myself. I want to actually do a carnivore, like road to sub whatever second 100-meter time or whatever, and do like a kind of um series where I like try to improve my athleticism on the carnivore diet. But yeah, I've just felt that that's been really good, and I feel with exercise, I'm feeling really good. I'm recovering really well. And another thing, I used to have big meals before exercise, just try and get some energy in. And oh, geez, it really sucked. If you have a big bowl of pasta before you exercise, you just feel like so bad. You feel like you're going to throw up the whole time. You're really bloated and stuff. But I can eat almost like 1,500 calories or 2,000 calories before, a full intensity sprint session. And it's fine. So,
Mm.
so yeah, there's some of the benefits.
Nice work. Yeah, if you guys get the chance, go and do a body scan, because it'd be good to see. Like I know you guys are three months in now, but go and get one of those DEXA body scans
Yeah.
maybe before you do sprint challenge, and then just see how your body composition starts to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you noticed that kind of leaning
Well,
out, gain muscle, or?
I was a bit worried because I put on like 7 kilos, maybe 8, since starting carnivore, and I was constantly like touching myself and like getting my wife to look and say like, am I fat? Because just never, like, I got to 100 kilos and like I'd never been above 93 before. And so I went and got a body scan and I was 15% body fat, which is probably like a little bit higher than I'd like to be, but it's still not fat. So yeah, I'm going to do another one in a couple of months, see if I can drop a couple of kilos of fat. But that was a relief to see that, okay, I must just be adding muscle, and I hadn't changed anything from my workouts. Like I was still just doing the same thing. So I reckon you boys will, because you're both young, you probably got fairly light frames. You'll probably find the same thing that you do, just naturally stack on muscle.
Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure.
How much meat are you guys eating?
I mean, I'd probably estimate around 600 to 800 grams per day of meat.
In 2 meals, or how often are you eating?
Probably around 2 meals, 2 or 3 meals. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Probably 2 meals of all types of meat, including some chicken and sausage, probably like 600, probably like 500, 600 grams.
In each meal
No, like total maybe.
total?
Yeah, I don't eat, I don't know. I don't eat too much because I'm just always full and I was always high body fat. So I just find I can eat like
Yeah.
1 or 2 meals a day and get away with it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think there's nothing wrong with eating. So, Dr. Chafee and I coach a carnivore challenge. So we talk to people who are like sort of early days on carnivore all the time. So if you are already a higher body fat percentage, it is normal that you won't be that hungry when you do carnivore because your body will start to recognize a hormone called leptin isn't being blocked by carbohydrates, which means that you can see how much body fat and energy you have stored on your body. So that's totally fine to not be super hungry. Then in terms of how much you guys are eating, like I think you definitely need more food and more nutrition. Particularly, like, I mean, Daniel, you're sort of 3 months in now, so you probably should look at experimenting with eating more meat. Like it would be like, I think 1 kilo should be the base, and then you guys can look at maybe eating, more than that as an experimentation to see how you feel, see if you feel better with more nutrition. And then the protein to fat ratio is important too. So are you guys eating fatty meat?
I try to, but sometimes it's a bit too expensive. Or like we might have some rump steak, which is a bit less fatty.
Yeah, I mean you can buy rump cap, which is generally cheaper than just rump. So you get a whole big piece of rump and you slice it up yourself, and it's got a layer of fat over the top.
Yeah.
Or you guys can buy briskets, which again are cheaper than rump. You can buy chuck steak, cheaper than rump. You can get your butcher to mix to create mince for you. That's like 50-50 or 60-40, where they're adding fat to it. Yeah. So if it's 50-50, then you're getting about 70% of your calories from fat and 30% from protein. So
in terms of weight loss for like body fat, would you say, because I know it's like a lot of the advice is you have to be in a caloric deficit, but do you think that higher fat intake is the key to lose more weight or lose more body fat more?
Yeah, it definitely is, because we've coached lots of people, including women who've really struggled to lose weight on their fat loss journey, and the key has been to consume more fat and to consume more food. A lot of people will try and lose weight with a calorie deficit, like what you're talking about. But really it starts to fall off when you give yourself enough nutrition that your body can let go of the energy stored on your body.
Well, that's like so contrary to what we're told, because you hear that high protein foods are very satiating. You hear a lot of people say that. Like,
well,
do you not agree with that, or?
Well, you guys know about rabbit starvation, right?
Yeah.
So it's where
too high protein.
Too high protein, not enough fat, you will starve. Your body will stop being able to absorb enough protein. So you do really need to concentrate and think about how much fat you're consuming. An easy way to do that is to eat a lot of butter, and then obviously you can add tallow as well. Buy tallow, add that to your meals, and eat eggs. Eggs are about sort of, I think, 50-50 fat to protein. And obviously the fattier cuts of meat, beef and lamb and pork.
Yeah, something for like I've heard a lot of people talk about how they can't lose weight on carnivore or whatever. Like, what do you reckon they're doing wrong on carnivore?
Undereating and not eating enough fat
Is why they're not losing weight.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so the most common reason we see why people are not losing body fat on their carnivore diet is either undereating or not getting enough fat, or a combination of the two. Because we're still so programmed to think that if you want to lose weight, you have to calorie restrict, which is true to an extent. You will get short-term fat loss, but you will generally have such strong cravings after starving yourself that you'll end up binging, and you'll come back, harder than you would have gone anyway. So you'll end up putting on more weight kind of after like a month or 2 months, or after the challenge is over. And a lot of people are, like a lot of people at the moment are having success with priming, which is where you absolutely stuff yourself full of food 3 times a day, giving your body a ton of nutrition, so that if there's no kind of like nutrient depletion anywhere in your body, you've got enough food so that your body can finally relax, and then you sort of start weaning yourself back to eating a normal amount per day, and eating twice a day or doing once a day.
This is actually a really interesting topic, but I'm not sure if you know who Bart K is. I'm assuming you would.
Yeah, we've done a pod with
Yes.
Bart. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's had a bit of like, I don't know, a bit of beef with Greg Doucet, and it was mainly about Bart K actually eating 6,000 calories a day for, I think, around 3 to 4 weeks, or for maybe around 2 weeks, and he lost 15 pounds. And I think it was priming, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got
that, seriously,
yeah, it's a bit baffling. I mean, if you think about it,
I was just going to say that's like insane.
Think about it from a survival standpoint. Like if I turned off your food, or I greatly limited your food, from a survival standpoint, your body's going to think, all right, let's hold on to all the energy we have stored on your body right now, and let's not let go of it. So if you take that as an approach, and you do the opposite, and you give yourself plenty of nutrition, particularly lots of fat coming in, your body can relax, knowing that, hey, there's plenty of nutrition coming. We've got nothing to worry about, and it can let go of the fat stored on your body.
Yeah, that's such a different perspective, because I've always thought, because on the carnivore diet, I've lost 23 kilos in 3 months.
Fucking hell, seriously? How much do you weigh now?
So I was 115. Now I'm 92.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
And I've actually done. I know a lot of the advice was saying eat as much as you want so your body can heal, because I was feeling a lot of things. But I actually did a bit of water fasting, and from what you said, I'm not sure if you'd be too much of an advocate for that. But I did a bit of water fasting to help come off, and then use the carnivore diet to help slowly get the rest off and maintain it, so I don't binge back. Yeah, I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't have a heap of experience in fasting, but I have played around with it myself, just doing, doing a 24-hour fast. I haven't done anything further than that. And I know you do get a lot of mental clarity, and you sort of get this kind of rush of energy, and your body feels very clean. It feels like it's rejuvenating itself. So yeah, I think that's, good for you doing that. How long did you do your fast for?
So most of them were around 3 days, but some days I was just so pissed off with my weight, and I'd just go up to like 5 days.
Wow.
But I was taking all my electrolytes. I was doing it safely. So I had a bit of a question. So if I've got around maybe 10 more kilos to lose of body fat to get back to sort of what I was, which is my healthy weight, in my opinion. So do you think I should actually increase my fat intake and caloric intake to lose the weight?
Yeah, 100%.
Just hearing what you were saying, even my brain is just trying to defend what it's been told. Like, you just told me to eat more calories to lose weight, and I want to believe it, but my brain is just so deep in its old ways that it's saying, oh no, like that can't be true. You have to starve yourself. Do you get what I mean?
We've definitely been conditioned to think that, if you want to lose weight, you have to calorie restrict. It's all calories in, calories out. But I'm sure you guys are sort of, given your experience with carnivore right now, although there is some hesitation and there are some blockages there, you guys have kind of opened Pandora's box in terms of discovering that a lot of the things that we took for granted as, being a certain way aren't a certain way. And you would have already found that, hey, it turns out the ideal source of energy for humans to run on is actually fat. And we were told to avoid fat. And you guys have been carnivore for 3 months now, and you've been running on fat. And by the sounds of it, you're feeling fantastic and you've got great results. So, another thing to consider is that starving yourself is not healthy for your body long term, and it's really not going to serve you, Daniel. But giving your body all the nutrition it needs, including plenty of fat, will mean that your body will restore itself back to what your natural body composition is, based on the sort of load of exercise that you're doing. So, obviously there's going to be two different, you're going to be different. If you want to become a marathon runner versus if you want to become a weightlifter bodybuilder, you're going to have two different versions of Daniel. But you will naturally become the Daniel that's perfect for the amount of exercise and work that you're doing if you stick to carnivore. I mean, something that Dr. Chafee often says is that if you actually consume too much dietary fat, your body will let you know, because it's just going to come out the other end. There's only a certain amount of, butter, fatty meat, ghee, tallow that your body can actually absorb. And if you put too much in, you're just going to have explosive diarrhea, basically. But it's not going to make you fat. So, and Daniel, we have in our carnivore challenge, we have women who are like terrified of putting on more weight, but they've already put on loads of weight because they've had 4 kids and they're now, going through menopause. And they, like you, are terrified to eat more because they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to put on so much weight. I don't want to go backwards. But the ones that have really committed to it, their weight might plateau for a month or so. They might put on a little bit of weight, but then something clicks and their body says, hey, I don't need to hold on to this extra energy anymore. I don't need this to walk around with all this nutrition on me. And then it just releases it and it just let's go.
So you think that I shouldn't try to maybe push my calories or lower them? I should just listen to my body. When it's hungry, eat, and when it's not hungry, don't eat. Like, simple.
Yes, 100%.
Don't look at the scale too much.
Well, I wouldn't. Honestly, if I was you, I would go and get a body scan. So it's it's going to cost $80 for the first one, I think, but then after that, it's only $40 to get another one. So
because I was always told that there's no reason to really eat food, because if you have a high body fat, you've got all this excess fat, you've got this energy stuck to your stomach, or so you can just use that as energy rather than eating. Do you get what I mean?
And that is true. Okay. And that is true. But you've already dropped a lot of that excess weight. I think you said it was 23 kilos, which is pretty significant.
Yeah.
And yeah, if there was a survival situation, you could last a long time, months and months and months, and you would be okay. Still, we all would be.
Yeah.
But if you want to sort of be healthy and get into this habit, and feel good all the time, I would definitely eat more. Like if you're eating 600 calories a day, I think you said something.
Maybe just over a K, maybe 1.2 to 1.3.
Yeah. Well, given your size, you should be having about 2,000, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Minimum. You're having 600 grams of meat. That's it. So yeah, definitely start experimenting with eating more. If that means that you have to have 3 meals a day, then because you can't sort of get more into your system, then that's okay as well.
So I think also my stomach might have shrunk a little bit from fasting, because I noticed when I finish my fast, I don't want to eat more than a little bit every day, because maybe your stomach shrinks. I'm not sure if that's bro science, but
I think that's bro science, but there's definitely a truth to it that after a fast, you don't want to just suddenly shove your face full of food because your body was almost in shock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got a question about if you wanted to gain weight on carnivore, let's say you're trying to build muscle, like if eating more food makes you kind of returns your body to a state of not starvation, which means your body thinks it's okay, so it can use the body fat to lose weight. Like how do you gain weight and put on muscle?
Yeah, I think it's more so what I was saying before to Daniel, it's like, there's this sort of like ideal Daniel that is your natural body composition. So by eating
Yeah.
loads of fatty meat when you're hungry, you're going to get yourself to that natural body composition, which, Ed, for you and I, it might actually be heavier than what we have on us right now.
Mm.
So you want to get yourself to that natural body composition, and then your body will respond to stimulus.
Yeah.
So, doing weights, doing sprinting, that's going to build loads of quality muscle. And, particularly like at your age, I mean, you chuck that stimulus in there now and you'll probably get amazing results.
And do you need to worry about a calorie surplus or?
Mate, I would carnivore, stick to fatty meat, eat when you're hungry, and eat as much meat as feels good, but you don't have to force anything.
Yeah.
Because a lot of I've got a friend who says that he doesn't want to go carnivore because he's trying to like bulk up, going to the gym, and he's scared he's gonna lose he's not lose, but he's gonna like, because obviously when you have carbs, building muscle is an inflammatory process, so carbs are inflammatory. You don't think building muscle is an inflammatory process? Not really. Would that just be anabolics?
Yeah, I think to build muscle, you need to eat muscle. You need the ideal amino acids. You need a shitload of protein, and you just get that into your system. A lot of the bodybuilders who think they need carbohydrates is because when you do take carbohydrates and you're building muscle, carbohydrates make you hold on to more water. So if you want that kind of like sort of more like puffy but more bulky look, then yeah, you can have a heap of carbohydrates and your muscles and your body's going to be holding more water, but it's not actually more high quality muscle that you've got on you. And the other thing is that when you eat carbohydrates, just like when you feed grain to a cow, you tend to have more body fat on you. And you can actually get body fat like marbling in your muscles, which can again make your muscles look like they're bigger. But that's not high quality muscle. The muscle in your quads should be all muscle, all really strong, dense muscle. It shouldn't have fat marbling going through it. And it shouldn't be holding a heap of water. So you absolutely do not need carbohydrates to build muscle.
Do you think that extra? Yeah. Do you think creatine? Correct me if I'm wrong, but creatine helps you retain water, which apparently increases your power and things like that. So if you're retaining more water, you get more power, even though it's not real quality muscle. Do you reckon that could be happening with carbs though?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you could still experience a little bit of strength gains. However, it's kind of not real muscle.
That's right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I think creatine has been proved to work, right? It's been proved to help you stack on a little bit more muscle quicker. But whether that's productive muscle or whether that's kind of muscle that's going to make you a better athlete, I'm not sure.
So on the topic of creatine, obviously in the carnivore diet, we would be having a lot more creatine because it's found in red meat. But they say to supplement around 5 grams. And I don't think most of us would be getting 5 grams from meat. Maybe would you say like 2 to 3 grams of creatine?
I really don't know. Ed, do you know?
Oh, I think it's around
Yeah,
2.
I remember hearing that type of number.
Okay.
Like if you only eat red meat, it's like 2 grams or something.
Okay, right.
Do you think there's any point supplementing creatine on a carnivore diet?
No, definitely not. Especially if you're trying to lose weight.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't need any supplements.
Yeah.
Obviously, like older guys who take like TRT, yeah, that's gonna speed things up because you're shoving a whole bit of extra testosterone into your system. But for like guys your age or even guys my age, we should just be fostering our own natural testosterone as much as we can.
Yeah.
On that topic, do you have any other methods of increasing your testosterone?
And I just do all the things that other people talk about, and I hope they're working. You
Yeah.
know, like I think definitely sun exposure for me. Like I can feel a noticeable difference if I can get out in the sun for, half an hour, an hour every day, and like obviously, just in shorts or jocks or whatever. So you have maximum skin exposure. Sleep.
Yeah.
These are all the obvious ones that everyone says. Sleep. You guys are probably the same. I need like minimum 8 hours. Probably a bit soft like that. But yeah, if I can get
Same.
8 hours. Yeah, you guys are the same. Maybe it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just need a lot of sleep. And like less stress from work. I think stress from work or relationships or what have you just absolutely zaps it. Yeah. And then I don't know, I'd be curious to hear if you guys have any, like semen retention is another one that people talk about. And I don't know if you guys have experimented with this before, but a lot of people say that, like famous boxers and stuff talk about like semen retention for a month before a fight, or like, Soul Bra. Do you guys follow Soul Bra on Instagram? Oh,
I know he is.
Yeah, you should follow him. He's hilarious. He talks about semen retention a lot as well, which I mean, people wouldn't talk about it if, in my opinion, if there wasn't some merit to it. So I think that would be something to experiment with as well.
Do you think the carnivore diet is the optimal diet for kind of increasing our testosterone as well?
Definitely. Yeah. I think there's been lots of people who've, doubled their testosterone levels in, a month or 2 months on carnivore. Yeah, absolutely.
Holy crap. That's crazy.
It definitely is. I mean, I think a lot of the benefits that you guys have experienced are somewhat a byproduct of more optimized testosterone. Because I think eating carnivore is causing much less distress to your guts. I think it's, helping you function much more optimally. I think it's helping you sleep better.
I'm sleeping way better.
Yeah, I think it's it's keeping you off booze and drugs. I think it's it's having a lot of these sort of benefits that then really boost your testosterone. You're like, oh my God, it's making you want to train more, most likely. I know it makes me want to train more. So I just feel alive. I'm so strong. It's like, yeah, because you got more testosterone now than you did before.
I know this is kind of a weird, kind of tricky topic, but I think it's kind of important to talk about. I was listening to Paul Saladino this morning and him talking about his low testosterone on the carnivore diet or whatever. What do you think happened there with Paul Saladino? And now he says he's on fruit and his test is back at where it was before. Like, what do you think happened there with Paul?
I've got one theory that Dr. Chafee and I have kind of come up with. This might not be true, but it's sort of maybe my own self bias is telling me that it might be true. I think he was eating a lot of organ meats, a lot. Like it looked like he was eating like hundreds of grams of liver in one sitting, and liver is incredibly nutrient dense. It's very high in things like vitamin A. But if you have too much, you can get hypervitaminosis, and it can actually make you quite sick. If you think about the ratio of liver and other organs to skeletal muscle mass in, say, a cow, I should probably work out what this is, but I'm going to say it's like 1 to 50 or maybe even 1 to 100.
Yeah.
So for my simple mind, it makes me think, oh, maybe I should eat like, 1/100th of, liver versus how much meat I'm eating. Again, I'm no expert. So when you're eating all these organ meats and you're starting to get sort of semi-hypervitaminosis, when you eat carbohydrates, you can block the receptors that absorb nutrients. So you go and he drinks honey for breakfast. So just so everyone knows, I think that's pretty wacky. I don't know why you need to have that huge shot of sugar as soon as you wake up. But say you're drinking some honey and then you're eating all that liver. Oh, fantastic. I'm getting this high from the sugar and my body's not absorbing as much of the vitamin A and all those vitamins that are in the organs as they were before. I feel so much better. It must have been because I was on carnivore. Whereas I don't think Inuits, the Maasai, Australian Aborigines, Native Americans, I don't think they had low testosterone when they were carnivores.
Yeah.
Yeah, also on the point of adding fruit, I was watching actually yesterday you and Chafee's podcast on fructose and just learning about how dangerous it is and how it actually breaks down as the same as alcohol in the body and has the same effects as methamphetamine in the brain and to the same extent. So it's really just a lot of people said, oh, to have fruit, but just learning about that has just made me think, oh, there's really no need to have that fructose. Yeah.
Oh shit.
You got a blackout, Ed.
Wait 1 second.
Yeah, Dan. I mean, there's definitely no need. You don't need any carbohydrates. You don't need any fruit. But in a survival situation, yeah, you can eat fruit and you can get a lot of nutrition.
Get you that boost and then to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or maybe if you happen to live in a very tropical environment where there's a lot of fruit, when that particular fruit is in season, you might enjoy having some of it. But I think the way that it's being used by like Saladino and those people who are sort of very much into the fruit, I think it's being used to spike their energy. So, you feel a bit flat, bang, you get that sugar hit, the energy spike comes up. Oh, I feel better now. But you do, but it's likely that they end up consuming a lot of sugar, which isn't good for you.
Do you think that kind of fruit and carnivore diet or whatever, do you reckon that is something that would be more appropriate for athletes and that, or do you reckon even so how would you compare for athletes a diet that's on carbs with a diet that's not on carbs and in ketosis?
I think eating meat and fruit is so much better than what your average person eats,
Yeah.
And if you're a professional athlete and you're doing that, then you're going to have way less inflammation and you're going to have loads of nutrients from eating meat. So I think as a whole, like it's really, really beneficial. But then there's like a bit of a misconception that you can't be a professional athlete and be carnivore, because that's totally false. And there are lots of professional athletes who are carnivores, and they can, endure really massive training blocks, and play entire games, and it's all fueled by fat. So yeah, that's kind of what I think.
So the whole notion of you can't be explosive without carbs, or you don't get I don't know, it doesn't feed the fast twitch muscle. I've heard this before.
Yeah,
it doesn't feed the fast twitch muscle fibers, and you can't explode off the mark because you don't have that fast, quick acting energy or whatever.
Yeah, no, you
BS.
definitely. Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, and there's there's just loads of athletes in like the NRL and rugby union and that sort of thing who are carnivore, but they they wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable talking about it.
Really?
But yeah, that's definitely BS.
So there's, I did PDHP at school, and they talk about carbohydrate loading before long form events. If you were fat adapted and on a ketogenic diet or carnivore, would you do some sort of fat loading, or it's completely different because you got fat on your body already?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably would, just for fear of like running out of energy, but I don't know if you necessarily need to. Yeah, I know like Dr. Chafee played rugby for America, and he played a hell of a lot of rugby, and he would never eat on game day, even if it was like a sort of like a sevens tournament where you're playing like 5 games. And he would even sometimes have a lighter meal the night before, just to make sure that he was super light, stomach wasn't working overboard, and he said he felt more alive, and maybe that's because it was quicker for him to tap into the fat stored on his body versus the fat that he was eating. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, running on, like, I know there's a guy who is a long distance cyclist, and he's on Instagram. I think his name's Sean Sanko. He's a great follow, and he rides for like 6 hours a day, and he hasn't eaten anything. He's just having water with a bit of salt, and then he'll have like fatty meat that night, and just go and do it again. So, you know, and I know he's doing long distance stuff, but he's pretty explosive too. So you absolutely don't need carbohydrates. Obviously, there's an adaptation period that you guys would have experienced too. So, you know, if you're playing in the NRL and you suddenly go carnivore, look, your first 2 or 3 games probably aren't going to be your best. But then after that, you know, you'll start to notice all the benefits. You know, in particular, fast recovery, like just with such less inflammation in your body, you know, you'll find that you're good to go much quicker.
Kind of getting more scientific, like, what do you think causes the inflammation from carbs? Like, how does that process work?
Yeah, that's definitely above my pay grade. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know that when I eat a heap of carbohydrates, I get gut distress, and I feel like my body's working so hard to kind of like process this food.
Yeah.
And obviously you get water retention when you're consuming a lot of carbohydrates. But yeah, specifically why you're more inflamed when you have carbs? That's a question for Dr. Chafee.
Do you know much about phytonutrients from vegetables? Do you know much about that, Simon?
No, that's also not super. That's definitely Dr. Chafee as well. Yeah. I mean, wow. I don't know. Have you guys, since you've been carnivore, have you experimented with like eating some plants and then seeing how you feel? Have you guys been doing that, or you've been strict the whole time?
I have had that. I actually haven't had many plants. I think I've had some potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of felt pretty trash after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I have continue, sorry.
I was just going to say that when you do, whether by accident or on purpose, like, it's interesting to see how crummy you really can feel. And it can definitely sort of affect your mental health and make you feel lethargic. And it's not it's not a pleasant feeling. You sort of, you go back to feeling not 100% like you did before the carnivore days.
Yeah, and another thing, I found that drinking, I'm not too sure if it's from the carbs, but if I drink milk that isn't raw, which raw milk is like really expensive in Australia, and it's not even real raw milk, it's just like cold pressed.
It's made by cow.
Yeah, that one. But when I have that pasteurized milk, I just find if I have a lot of it, I feel pretty trash after it. And same with pasteurized cream. Like, what do you think is happening there?
It's got a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're loading up on sugar. That's why in our challenge, we don't recommend people drink milk at all, even if it's raw milk.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a blood sugar spike from all the sugar, and then you're going to get a bit of a come down.
Definitely noticed that.
And the other thing that it does is it's so easy to overconsume. Like, like, it tastes great, but I could drink a whole liter of made by cow and it wouldn't even touch the sides. And then that totally throws off your natural hunger signals. So your blood sugar spikes.
Right.
And then which means you get a glucose response, which blocks your leptin, which is that hormone that lets you see how much body fat storage you've got, blocks that and says, okay, I need more nutrition. And then it can really lead to overeating. So yeah, next time you pick up a bottle of milk, you'll notice that it's got almost like equal weighting of sugar, protein, and fat. which
I think it
means
has
that,
more sugar. Yeah, I think it's like
yeah, okay.
12 grams sugar to 8 grams protein for just
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah, exactly. Which means it's great for, baby cows putting on weight quickly.
Yeah, right.
On the topic of milk, with like kefir or like fermented milk, I was talking to someone today and they said that although it does have sugar, apparently your body, I'm not sure if this is bullcrap, but apparently your body has like bacteria that break down the sugar from the probiotics or something. So it's it's not actually broken down as sugar. Like, do you get what I mean? I'm not sure if you've heard that before.
No, I haven't heard that. Yeah, I don't know. I think if it's got sugar in it, it tastes kind of sweet, and it spikes your blood sugar levels, then it's sugar. But yeah, I mean, there's no sugar in butter, so that's dairy that you can have. And I don't think there's any in cheese either. So you can have those on the side with your meat, and there's no problem for most people.
I have found though that when I have unpasteurized milk like that made by cow one, I don't have that spike and crash as hard. I don't know why, but I just
Yeah,
don't have it as much.
I can notice a difference in my stomach. Like when I have that, like the
Yeah.
supermarket milk, I just feel like bloated instantly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and just sort of gassy, but with made by cow, I
Yeah.
don't have that. So
Yeah. What is even happening there? Like, what do you
I
think's
mean,
happening?
I'm not an expert, but I think I've heard people say that because to pasteurize the milk, you have to boil it, and then
Yeah.
that messes with the nutritional makeup of the milk, which sort of reorganizes it. And then when you consume it, it's harder for your body to then digest those nutrients. So yeah, it for most people, they'll find it way easier to drink raw milk or the cold pressed milk than they will regular pasteurized milk.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on a lot of people saying that ketogenic diets is good, but long term, I'm not sure if it's a myth, but I've heard people saying, oh, long term, being in a state of long term ketosis is bad. But I don't actually know why. Have you heard that before? Or
Yeah, people do say that, don't they?
yeah,
But I mean, the Inuits, the Maasai, the Aborigines, the Native Americans, they're all either for the whole year or most of the year, they're just eating animals. They're just eating meat and fat, and they don't seem to have an issue. Yeah, you'll have to ask Carnivore Aurelius or Paul Saladino that one.
yeah, because I was watching another one of your podcasts, and I think it was called like Dementia and Living to 120.
Yeah.
And Chafee talks about how they've studied the human chromosome, and if nothing goes wrong, and this isn't even if you're optimizing your health, if you're just eating a natural diet, should live to 120 years old. So do you think that obviously we haven't been carnivore our whole lives, mean ed for 3 months, and assuming we're going to do it for the next 100 years, you've probably the next 90 years because you're probably like 10 years older than us. Do you think that the damage from the 18 or however old you are years of carbs and plant matter will sort of reduce that lifespan?
Who
Or
knows?
you
I mean,
don't know?
it's a big question. I don't know. I suppose we will find out, and we have we have more long-term carnivores. I think we know for a fact that ketogenic diets are very protective for your brain. So, for example, people who suffer from migraines or seizures with epilepsy, we know that on a ketogenic high-fat diet, they basically all go away. And we also know that it's protective against dementia and brain degradation as well. If your brain is mainly fat, and without fat, you can see scans. Dr. Chafee talks about this, and there's visible holes in people's brains. But if you have enough dietary fat coming in, then you really can protect and restore your brain. So, I think one of the big dangers of getting old is that, you do get dementia, or your brain starts to deteriorate. But if we can give it loads of dietary fat, omega-3, and not poison it with carbohydrates and plants, I don't see why we couldn't get to 120. maybe I don't necessarily think, I don't think I'll get to 120. But some people who have that, who are maybe more predisposed to longevity, you know what I mean?
So also another question, what's your thoughts on raw meat, going raw meat carnivore only for the
Have you,
extra water soluble vitamins?
yeah. Do you guys know, did you follow Raw Meat Experiment on Instagram?
No.
Yeah, you got to look him up. So he ate raw meat every day he was going to do a year, but then he stopped doing it after about 9 months or something.
What, 9 months?
Yeah, and I interviewed him, and he was doing things like eating raw testicles, raw chicken, a heap of raw fish, like just raw anything. And he started to really love it, and he got super healthy. Like, he had bad acne, he had depression, he was overweight, all that stuff. And, he had a huge health turnaround by eating this very natural diet. And he would have 2 meals a day. One of them was totally raw meat, and one of them was just like regular cooked meat. So yeah, I mean, I think obviously you have to get fresh, healthy, clean meat. Let's put that to a side. Let's assume that doesn't have anything wrong with it. Yeah, you absolutely can eat raw meat. I think after a while you'd get pretty sick of it, and you'd wish you had a fire that you could throw it onto. In terms of nutrient absorption, Raw Meat Experiment, this guy, he did a lot of research. He seems to think that you do absorb slightly more nutrients when you're eating it raw versus when you're eating it cooked. Which I think, maybe that is the case. Certainly wouldn't be the case with those hard to chew meats, the meats that need to be slow cooked and on the bone and everything like that. So yeah, if you like eating raw meat, go for it.
The meeting probably going to end like a couple of seconds.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, let's leave it there, guys. It was good to chat. We ended up getting through a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.